Hi guys, I'm Michael. I was not on Power Rangers HyperForce. I'm just running this today. Do you
I like
guys
your
want-
shirt.
Thank you. Yep, brought it especially. In fact, yes. Would you guys like to introduce yourself? Maybe we start at the other end.
Hi, my name is Andre. I played Eddie Banks, the Blue Ranger on Power Rangers HyperForce. Thank you. Also do Black Nerd Comedy on the YouTubes and everything. And I'm the reason that some of you say, Selwyn Ward, first black leader of the Power Rangers.
Wow.
That was an experience.
Yeah.
My name is Megan Camarena, and I play Chloe Ashford, who is HyperForce Pink. You're a burrito-loving, good time. Wait, yeah, the Battleizer, right? I am also a co-writer for Radiant Pink, which is in the Radiant Black universe. Basically taking all of that amazing Chloe energy and channeling it into a character that is similar to myself personally. But I'm also Strawberry17 online, and Strawberry17 plays on Twitch.
Yay!
Yay!
Hi guys, I was behind the scenes on Power Rangers HyperForce. My name is Melissa Flores. I was working at Saban Brands at the time and helped create and produce the series along with Hyper RPG and these lovely people here. Come here, come on. We said we'd give you guys a No, there's two. Oh.
We were waiting for you guys.
We didn't get to come through the secret Power Ranger entrance.
Hello. Don't get up for me, Pink Ranger. It's fine. I'll try. Hey, girl. Hola.
So anyways, I'm not with Hasbro anymore, but I am still working. I write for myself now. I'm writing the Boom Power Rangers comic books after Ryan is done. I write a series called The Dead Lucky, which I hope you pick up in comic books as well. And I'm co-writing Radiant Pink with Megan.
Oh yeah, we're co-writing Radiant Pink, the miniseries together. So there's a little bit. She reins me in when I'm like, okay, I want to do this, and that, and then.
And I'm like, okay, but let's find narrative reasons for all of that.
Yeah.
The boss.
Peter, do
Yes.
you want to introduce yourself, and then Pauline?
Yeah, I would love to. Hey guys, thanks so much for being here. Seriously. I really, really appreciate you guys' support. HyperForce is something that's very, very dear to my heart. So thank you for being here. I play HyperForce Red. I also play Ninja Steel Blue. And yeah, I'm just excited to be here. Thank you guys.
What's happening? I'm Jason David Frank.
JDF in the house!
I play the Loser Ranger. What's up? I'm Paulie. HyperForce Yellow.
All right, gang. It's been very nearly 5 years since the first episode of Power Rangers HyperForce aired. Yeah, you'll feel old now, huh?
2018, huh?
Yeah. To start, I want to go back to before the series started. For those of you who are in the cast, what do you remember about being approached for the project? Did any of you have like RPG experience? Was there any hesitation going in about doing this sort of thing?
I wanted to be yellow.
Really?
I did.
Did you really?
Yeah, remember
Yeah,
we
she
talked
did.
about it.
She didn't
And then-
like pink. She thought she didn't like pink as a color.
It's so perfect now.
I guess it grew on me. I was a big fan of Trini growing up. I loved her. I thought she was so badass and broke the stereotypes of like what we would see in the 90s for women in television. Also, I am white facing, but I grew up in a brown household. I'm half Hispanic and have only known like my Mexican side. I wasn't really, my mom didn't have any family, so I was always around my Hispanic relatives. So it was nice to see a person of color that was a superhero on screen. So I was like, can I be yellow? And Peter was like, oh, Paul.
Oh, that's right. I do remember
Polly's
that.
gonna be yellow.
Which is like the worst character to put a big man in. The worst color. Where's color? How about black and white stripes? Horizontal.
Peter pushed me. He's like, I really think you could be a really great pink. Maybe just just try it out. It might be awesome. I had never done any RPG stuff prior. Huh?
I said, go me.
Yeah, you sold me on it because I couldn't do the show. I was too old to do the show, first of all. But I mean, I'm a huge Power Ranger fan and have been since I was a kid. So yeah, Peter was like, just come in. Maybe you can make it your own. And I definitely did. And now I love pink. So that was some character development for me on my personal journey.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you said yes. Because I can't imagine the show without her as pink, you know?
Aww.
Yeah.
But I almost picked black as well. Because when we were talking about this, we were talking about all the different Zords. And the choice was Red Lion, which is like iconic.
See it? I didn't even see that you brought it. Oh my god.
But the other option was Black Cerberus.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like how many times are you gonna get to have a Cerberus as a Zord, you know? And but I ended up going with that good old red.
So was that was the arrangement? Was you guys had designed the Rangers and the Zords, or you sort of had plans?
So it was all in conjunction. So it's actually a funny story. Peter and Yoshi came up to me first and were like, "Hey, we want to do an RPG show or Power Rangers." And I'm like, "Well, we're doing one already. You can't."
Yeah, it worked out perfectly
But
though.
yeah, but I was like, "But you can be on ours."
Yeah.
And so, but we had very specific ideas of who we wanted, and so like we knew immediately we wanted Polly. Because we wanted Polly to be a ranger. And we're very grateful that Polly said yes. We knew we wanted Andre. Absolutely. Because we wanted a super fan on the show. We wanted somebody that was knowledgeable about the series, especially because HyperForce is about all the different series. And so we needed a ranger that knew everything. And Andre, had always been incredibly professional and fun to work with, and he was just a funny guy.
Like a library.
Yeah, and we just knew he'd be a perfect blue ranger.
I knew I was gonna be blue. Like everyone was all like, I wanted to pick all these colors. As soon as they were like, give me a ranger, I was like, it's blue. I knew I'm.
Oh yeah, which one? You want me to?
I accepted it already.
For nerd? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I was fine with it.
And then we wanted, we hadn't had an Asian American Red Ranger before, so we wanted Peter to be our Red Ranger. And then all the other colors fell into place, including
I had to
Christina as a
audition.
black.
Oh, come on.
She was like, yeah, I don't know if she has the chops. I like went
You did
in.
not have to audition.
Yeah, I came in for the test.
We did a play test. That's different.
All right.
Was there a chance that after the play test she would not have had the vibe?
No.
I was a little nervous. I was like,
She was nervous though. Like if you saw her at that play test, you'd think she was a completely different person.
I was
She was
a little
perfect for-
quiet. I was quiet because I was like, I don't know how to add dice. I barely know how to like eat breakfast in the morning.
You were so natural. It was like you coming into it, you just knew how to like feel the spirit of Chloe and like live in the world. Like right as like I was rewatching it the other day actually. And like all the ways that like the narrative actually split off, a lot of it was because you just wanted to screw around. Like a lot of the themes that we have, like the burritos.
Yeah.
We didn't write that in.
That was all great for me, by the way, in the back.
I
sweating
was
my head
so
off.
hungry every single time we filmed because it was right at dinner time. So I would just be thinking about food the entire time. So.
And they would give us burritos.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was nice.
Paul, I wanted to ask, you've been in more episodes of Power Rangers than I think any other actor.
Correct.
But obviously never as a Power Ranger. What was it like being asked to step up?
Well, I mean, first of all, Pretty Hot and Thick is a fantastic opportunity to see a franchise that usually is about very fit people kind of accept somebody with a different body morphology.
Yes.
And embrace that.
Yeah.
So in the same sense, just like Peter kind of getting to be that first, I'm really psyched to have had the opportunity to play Jack D. Thomas and to have that kind of bigness be part of the character and but not something that is joked about or dwelled upon.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just a part of the world. So yeah, I mean it's pretty awesome.
Great.
And really, you know, HyperForce has definitely put me into you ain't never gonna pass me as the highest number of episodes on the show.
Oh yeah.
it is canon. So too late. It's done.
And in the game too. If you guys have a Legacy Wars, his character model in the game is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
If you like HyperForce, come by our booth. I made some minifigures of Jack and Peter.
I'm coming by.
Melissa Flores, Andre,
Yeah.
Megan,
I'm coming.
Peter.
Yes,
I
sir.
What's happening?
You get free shit from me.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
All right. Character creation. Obviously, you guys talked a little bit about colors. Did you name your characters? Did you have other names that you were considering? Was there anything about them that changed last minute or late in the game?
Chloe was always going to be Chloe. I'm a big Life is Strange fan. And I was kind of coming into my own realizing something I had already known about myself. And that was like my sexuality. And I wanted Chloe to be bi. It was so crazy because the show really helped me kind of step into that before I made that public announcement that I'm pansexual. Man, Power Rangers is so good. HyperForce really was so like a healing chapter of my life.
And also a big shout out to Hyper RPG and Malika and Zach who aren't here. Like this wouldn't exist without them. They worked so hard for this show, and Malika especially worked so hard on the Zords. Like she came up with the Zords and the theme,
The lore.
and I think she worked with all of you guys on creating the characters, right?
She did, yeah. She kind of gave me free reign though, because
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a worry.
I know. And
That's why we have a lot of chaotic things in the show.
between myself and Christina.
Oh my
guys-
goodness.
Oh,
Do you
gosh.
remember the moment where Christina's like, I want to do a backflip, and then like she goes and rolls to do a backflip, and then Malika's like, you did a backflip. Okay, next person. Like, just wasting her turn.
Yeah, just remember she came to me and said, "I want to die."
Oh my goodness.
Remember that? Yeah.
That was twisty.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of a live show. You know, it's like I love that the characters kind of grew into themselves. We
Yeah.
did have like I think the formats. She always like everybody did. Malika, Zach, Melissa, all guided us towards what they thought the characters would be, and we at least got to have the free reins of where we wanted it to go. You know, so it was like a guided journey on how to be a hero. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, it was interesting because it was one of those things where we had to have a lot of faith in who we cast, which is wild. And then we cast Megan because I didn't know her at all, and she turned to be this chaos little creative. She's now like one of my closest friends in the world. I love her to death. But
Power Rangers.
But
man.
yeah, we had to have a lot of faith in the process because this is a branded thing. Like we are giving our permission for this thing to happen. We paid money for this thing to happen, but it's also live and semi-unscripted. So we had an A, B, and C. Like and permanent and live stream, so you couldn't take anything back. So there had to be a lot of trust in Hyper RPG and also the actors, and that's actually why we cast the way we did, because we figured the people that we cast, like Polly, like Andre, like Peter, and Christina and Megan, respected the franchise enough that they could be crazy and wild and have their burrito times and cut each other's hands off and all that fun stuff. But at the end of the day, what I really was impressed with is that they did truly act like Rangers. Like they truly would make the Rangerly decisions to the point where they would surprise us. There was a moment in the episode that we were at Type Force, I think. Or I don't know if it was Time Force or SPD, where a bunch of people were supposed to die, and they were like, no, it's not going to happen. And we literally just had to change the narrative and make them all survive because the Rangers would not allow them to die. And I thought that was really cool. It like really spoke to me that they truly embraced what it meant to be a Ranger.
You guys have role played, some of you, right? Right? Usually you just kill everything. We couldn't do that, and Andre wouldn't let us.
Well, I mean, like, I could do that because I would just battleize, but,
She was actually the strongest. Oh my goodness.
I was OP at one
Battleizer,
point.
all of that
I know.
stuff.
Again, purely by chance. Malika said, I want to give one of them a battleizer, and they rolled for it.
Yeah, it was great.
Cold-blooded.
Yeah.
But I actually do want to add on to that and say that that's why it was pretty amazing. It's like we didn't know how to do any of the Ranger stuff, but going through it, we learned how to think like a Ranger. And after the episode, we learned how to be like, okay, you know what? Actually, in this situation, these characters are just in the game. But if you jump into the game, if you're really role playing, they're real. What would I really do in that situation?
Yeah.
You know?
I remember, especially you, like the journey of what it means to be the Red Ranger.
Oh my
was like, I know it
gosh.
like was frustrating sometimes
was-
for you because I'm
yeah.
like, I don't know what that means. And
It's
like you have to
scary.
figure it out.
Dude,
Yeah.
like I mean, to be a leader, nobody gives you a real format on how to be a leader. Nobody gives you a format on how to be a hero. You know, and it's like going from a civilian and suddenly now being in charge of like people's safety and thinking about that stuff, you really have to step into it. Like,
Yeah, and your entire team
yeah,
and what they're going through.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was
Peter,
good stuff.
you, I believe, named Marv after one of your Sentai
did.
favorites.
Who is here?
Have you had the chance to meet him yet?
No, not yet. Yeah, have you guys? Yeah, I saw some of you guys brought pictures with them too. It was sick.
Cool.
You know, there's a little bit of Skull in Jack D. Thomas because I named the character after Jason Narvy's son, Jack.
Oh.
And the middle initial D was initially supposed to be Deal Good because that was my D&D character when I was in 8th grade.
Nice. Nice.
And then they were like, Deal Good with an E on the end. It's a little British.
Is there
Maybe-
a chance that he's his son?
Exactly.
Is there a
Jack.
chance?
Jack is Jack.
He is.
Jack is Jason Narvy's son, yeah.
Oh.
He's
Are we
a
bringing
hilarious
that
kid.
into the canon right now? No, I'm kidding.
Well, one of my favorite TV shows was Family Matters. And one of my other favorite TV shows was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And Eddie Winslow was in Family Matters. And the Banks family was in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Boom, done.
So Eddie Banks is my name.
Nice. Nice.
Because I didn't know, that was the hardest part, was just coming up with the name. So
It was
I
hard.
literally gave Malika like 20 names. Because first off, to find a name that a Ranger hasn't used in almost 30 years is already, like every name is like, dang it, Tunnel of Thunder, dang it, Ninja Storm, dang it, Mega Force. It's like, so it was like hard to find one. So I gave him
Welcome
a
to
name.
our world every 2 years.
Yeah, so she of the name, she picked Eddie, and I was like, okay, then I know what the last name is going to be. So, yeah.
What do you guys remember about recording? Like, you were live on air. What were those nights like? Like going to the studio and just hanging out and playing a game with your friends, knowing that thousands of people were watching at home?
It was the best.
Sorry. I like couldn't get emotional thinking about it because it was like I don't think I've ever had something like that before. It felt like a family, and during that time, I wasn't talking to my family, and that was something I looked forward to every single week. And when we ended, it felt like there was a massive hole in my heart because I was like, "Damn, I miss these
Yeah,
guys."
dude, we were just like living every day, and then suddenly we had to not exist anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
It was pretty brutal, but I looked forward. I only missed like one episode, I think, because I was really, really sick. But it was like the highlight of my week, just role playing in this world that we had created together.
Yeah.
You guys are like some of my favorite people on the planet, and it was like an honor and a privilege to be a ranger alongside you.
Thanks.
I mean, it was something really special because for me personally, it was twofold of like, one, I knew I was never going to be a ranger on television, like age, size, everything. Was like, nah, that's not maybe a side character, but like, so that was already cool to be able to be like, okay, well now in this format I can be one. And then I think sort of the idea, and Melissa, I talked about this a couple of times, is like, I really played it from what if a fan of Power Rangers became a Power Ranger. And so like that was just such a fun experience to be able to have, to like play the role of like being so excited to be in this, play the role of like meeting other Rangers and they're like your idols and you like know all this stuff about them, and just trying to be the absolute best that you can be at this job, you know, or this role, because it's something that you just always wanted. Like it's always like when you want something and then you get it, it's like exciting and also nervous because it's like you love it, but also you don't want to mess up or screw up. So that was a very fun experience to be able to do something. This is, like I said, for me, that's feel like this is the closest I'm ever going to be a Ranger. And so like to be able to have that moment for a franchise that I really love, and to do it with such wonderful people. Like I've known Megan for a a long time, but like that is where we bonded. Like that's where we became like, oh my God. So that was great. And like, well, I remember the first time I came to Morphicon and seeing you and be like, my God, it's Paul. And now to be able to talk to you and be friends with you, like that's just a cool experience. So being a part of that whole world, and then having, you know, obviously people everyone watching it and enjoying it and making cosplays. I just like,
Yeah.
it's so cool. It's really cool. So appreciate it.
I mean, for me, it was wild, but also like they said, it's taking control of the characters. Is just it's a scary thing.
Yeah.
On Ninja Steel, I could like hide behind the writers. I know this sounds terrible, but like if something was wrong with Preston, I'm like, well, I was just doing my job. But with Marvin, it's like, woof, like if I make a mistake, I make a mistake. So it was nice. It was really, really nice. It was just like hanging out with friends. Yeah.
Most role-playing games use the full complement of dice, right? But we were kind of based on kind of a Shadowrun system using D6, right? I hate D6 now.
The dice were like not weighted properly. They were.
I lost so many rolls, and I was like,
There was a set of good dice, and I always ended up getting it. I always did. I was rolling those lightning bolts.
Dice.
Yeah. The first week they brought out these dice, and you saw them, but it's like the ones with the lightning bolt is a 6, and we were just like, "Oh my god, these are the best die ever!" But like week 4, we were like, "Can we just get some regular dice?"
This is never getting on lightning bolt.
Yeah, it's like a magnet underneath or something. Like,
yeah, because you would throw them, and they would just go, wow.
Yeah, that lightning bolt would be like, "No, thank you."
I would go in before you guys and like test them all out. I was like, oh yeah, these are the good ones.
She used up all the lightning bolts.
Yeah.
And that's what's the coolest thing about this. The thing about Power Rangers is that you can set up like your sword coming down, you can have the explosion coming back, and like everything's just perfect on television. Us, we would have this whole like, I'm going in, I'm flipping over, jumping, I'd slash my sword. I missed.
Yeah.
You can try.
What I did say, it was really interesting because we had 2 very experienced RPGers. We had Polly and we had Peter, and then we had 3 pretty inexperienced RPGers in Chris.
You guys brought so much flavor into the game.
And it was so much
Oh my
fun because you had
gosh.
the guys that knew how to role play, and then you had the 3 that were figuring it out. And because they were figuring it out, they didn't know the rules, which meant there was so much chaos and fun that came with it.
And it worked so well for like the characters too, because like Marv and Jack were technically the 2 law-abiding citizens.
Yeah.
We were the part of the forest, so it's like we were all like getting carried away with it, and the chaos just took the story.
I remember how many times poor Polly was like, "Guys, we have to get back on mission."
But the burrito storm.
And then Christina and I'm like, what do you want, cotton candy in your burrito? And she's like, yeah.
You had like a whole room full of burritos at one point.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
You guys got to play with some of the franchise's all-time greats. To name a few: Jason David Frank, Karen Ashley, Christopher
Karen
Kamen,
Ashley.
Erin Cahill, Santa Claus.
Erin Cahill.
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus was me. I needed Santa Claus.
I'm not going to ask you to name favorites because most of them are here and I don't want to get in trouble.
I'm going to say Karen Ashley because if I don't, she'll probably get me later.
That'll get you in trouble the other way, yeah.
But yeah, no.
Were there any of those experiences that really like stick out in your memory?
Karen Ashley for sure. A big Yellow Ranger fan. So, to meet her, and she's the sweetest. She's so sweet.
wonderful.
She follows me on Instagram and comments occasionally, and will send me messages. And she's just like such a kind, warm person who is just consistently good. I love her. Erin Cahill was really cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool having Cameron on as well because I feel like having him on there, there were just some things. I say this for all of them, but I particularly, he's coming to mind, of just like being able to see Rangers do things with their characters that maybe couldn't be written or weren't written into the show, and seeing that that experience happen it's within the context of HyperForce. I think it was really awesome.
My favorite guest was Jason David Frank. Yeah. But not for the reason you might think. So he was on the show, first time. We're seated next to each other. The show begins. The music is rolling. He passes me a note. I look at it underneath the table, and it says, "How do I do this?"
Oh, my God.
And I was like, "You're mine."
I will teach you.
I still have that note.
It was great though.
Yeah,
man.
I will say, I really am so thankful to every one of those cast members that showed up because they are scripted actors. That is a completely different muscle than improv, and allowing having the trust in us to come on board and be like, there is no script. here's just some stuff to say. Good luck. Like I remember Erin was the very first one, and she just showed up. Like we talked about it, and she's like, yeah, sure, okay, that sounds really fun. She wasn't able to do the New Zealand stuff because she's union, and so she was excited to do something. And so she came on, and I was like, you're going to be our mentor. It's going to be great. She's like, great. Where's the script? I'm like, there is no script. Here's an outline, and she worked on it with Malika, and then afterwards, she came up to him like, thank you so much. How'd it go? Like, do you have any feedback? Because we're having other asks. She's like, better prepare them next time. She's the sweetest. Like they're
so good.
honestly every single one of them. You know, Mike Jin was hilarious.
Oh,
my
gosh,
God.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we were just so lucky to have every single one of them.
Mikey
And
definitely brought a degree of levity, and he brought his character so cleanly and so wholly. It was really refreshing
Yeah.
because we were all wrapped up in our own psychoses collectively.
Yeah, I would also, I guess, I would say Polly, actually. Yeah, first time, like, coming into set and being like, whoa, I'm going to be on a team with this guy that I used to watch on TV. You know? Yeah, but I got to say all of them. Because even, like, with Cameron and everybody, it's like tying all of it in. It just makes it more real.
my favorite was Santa.
Yeah. Who now has a suit.
So let's talk about tying it all in. You guys got to do a whirlwind tour of the Power Rangers timeline. Obviously, some of you to different degrees have different levels of knowledge about the history of the show. What was it like being let loose onto all of Power Rangers history?
It's like a virtual Power Ranger Disneyland.
But
That's
so
exact-
dangerous too. So dangerous because you make the wrong step and you've just like blown a whole like beat for a season that's already passed and that you cannot be changed. You know.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, you really get to realize how real your childhood is too. You know, it's like all these things that you've watched collectively, and then being able to like step into this room and interact with everything that you've seen, like talking to Doggy Kruger and arguing with him. You know, it's like it's just.
Well, y'all argued.
Oh my God, that episode.
I spilled the beans.
That was so long.
That was, yeah.
Didn't you get in trouble? They were
I
like,
did.
They're like,
I
stop
got
it,
in
Peter,
so much
stop it.
trouble.
He did not get in trouble. We just said go to break because Peter's not stopping.
We did get in trouble.
But it was
Melissa would come
exciting.
out
You know,
and
it's like living in that world is like it is unreal. Just being able to interact with the things that you've seen and like imagined and dreamed about for so long.
The most exciting part of the experience for me overall was watching your attention balloon and grow and then get like alt press and then get press and blow up even more.
Yeah.
And we felt your eyes and ears on us. Like
fact,
we
you guys are here.
felt like we were Elvis. Like every time the show was getting ready, we were like, we
Yeah,
had to
the
get like,
jitters.
jacked up. Totally,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But your participation and your eyes and ears really kind of made us feel like we had gravity.
Yeah, and I think it was also cool because I think it came at a very good time with Power Rangers, the franchise as a whole, because between HyperForce, the Boom comics, and even the 2017 movie,
Yeah.
I feel like that the combination was like making Power Rangers content for an older audience. I mean, it's a show that everyone at any age can love, but it has been a show that's been usually on kids networks and stuff like that. So I think it was nice to see these various elements, and that's I remember even talking to people who watched it, like that was what was nice about it. It was like they introduced the show to people who weren't even really big into Power Rangers, but they liked role-playing games and saw something interesting in that. And I thought that was kind of fascinating as well.
I've had people come up and tell me that they discovered HyperForce during quarantine even,
Yeah.
and that it made them feel less alone. And so I think the fact that it's been 5 years and people are still discovering that you're here at all, that we're talking to you, I think shows how much of an impact the show made, and we're just so grateful for it.
Speaking of the time at which it came, you guys also got to participate in a crossover that was happening at the same time. You guys did a 2-part Shattered Grid episode,
Yeah.
and then your characters got to appear in the comics.
Chloe was just Chloe was just in a recent comic.
Yep.
The pink, all pink. So.
And then there's a Power Rangers universe cover that has a bunch of Blue Rangers and HyperForce movie.
Yeah.
That's
It's one of the few examples of actual brand management in this franchise.
And how much passion your guys' love puts into it. Seriously, this is
Yeah.
all because you guys came and watched it. If
Yeah.
we did like first episode and nobody watched,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be able to be here.
Can I legitimately tell you that I've been told that those covers were just Dan Mora, the artist, drawing his favorite Power
Yeah.
Rangers, and he loves you guys so much
chills.
that he put you all on
Aw.
them.
Aw.
What was it like getting to be, I mean, not in a crossover, but also in a crossover?
I grew up with 4 brothers, and reading comics was like as a boy thing. There's a lot of like my brothers are so stupid. Brothers can be like that sometimes, you know. They're like, yeah, you're a girl, you can't do that. But I was like the bravest out of all of them. I skateboarded, I did all the cool things. But as an adult, I started getting into comics, and I was like, damn, it would be so cool to be in a comic someday, let alone write one. And that was the start of what I'm doing now. Because Kyle, he asked me to come on for Radiant Pink, but being a part of that crossover, it became real for me. It became less of like a pipeline dream and more of like, if I can do this as a ranger, maybe I can do this as like myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, the comics is really cool, and I think that the fact that they're in the game, the tabletop, the board game is really cool. Because I remember when I was a kid, I actually bought like a poster board, and I don't know if you remember this, but there used to be like these really tiny civilian ranger figures like back in the day. But yeah, so I had those, and I made like a little board game with them. so it was just neat to full circle to see that the HyperForce Rangers were actually an expansion pack for the board game. I thought that was really cool.
Pretty sick.
Yeah, like they have their own powers and moves and everything, and the little figures. It's like that's awesome.
I didn't even realize there was a crossover until you really said it. Because like when we were doing it, we were just having guests in and out, you know.
Yeah.
But
Well, it was one of those things where we were doing Shattered Grid at the same time, and what I really wanted to I was always looking for opportunities for synergy, and that was a perfect opportunity. So Kyle, having Kyle, and then I know that Jason David Frank was always interested in playing Draken, so I'm like, what if we have Kyle one week and Drakon the next? And thankfully Boom was so supportive, and that turned into the Boom cover, and then that turned into WonderCon. And it was just so much fun, and Boom continues to be so supportive of HyperForce, and it really means a lot. But it was such a special moment, I think, to take those 2 events and just elevate them to something really fun and do something a little different. I mean, Zach was the GM that day, so Malika joined us at the table, and it was just such a different experience that I think it was a lot different enough for HyperForce that I think it really just made it a special time.
Yeah, I mean, other than that short, that's the only live action Draken we've had, right? Is in HyperForce. So yeah, that's really cool.
All right.
For
Peter,
now.
Peter, I want to ask you, obviously, Yoshi couldn't be here today, but you got to be a Power Ranger with your brother.
Twice.
What was that like?
it's a blessing. It's not something that I can. I wake up every day and I'm like, what did I do to deserve that? So it's a blessing that I got to be able to do that twice. Yeah, so it's just really nice.
Lovely. The HyperForce cast, as you've said, has continued to appear. They've showed up in comics. They're in the board game. They're in the video game. How does it feel, especially for Andre and Megan, who were outside of Power Rangers before this, to be a permanent part of the Power Rangers legacy?
Unreal. I grew up very poor. I didn't think I would live past 18. I grew up in a very abusive household. I really didn't have much to look forward to. And Power Rangers, I wore the same costume, the same Yellow Ranger costume, up until it ripped and didn't fit me anymore. I would walk around with holes in my shoes because my family couldn't afford them. And Power Rangers was the dream. And it was something I let go of as I got older. Obviously, my mental health has improved significantly, and I've made it all the way to 35. But never in a million years would I have ever thought I could tell my younger self we did it. But she would be pissed that I'm a Pink Ranger. But
I think she'd understand.
you don't know little Megan. She was fiery. But and never does a day go by where I don't feel extremely grateful to be a part of this fandom and universe, because it was the dream. It was the big dream. What do you want to be when you grow up? A Power Ranger. And it happened.
Yeah.
For me, Rangers is like the CIA. You try to get out, but it ain't happening. They need you for
We
one
need you back,
last
Jack.
mission. Exactly.
But I feel like with all that, it's everybody brings so much into the Ranger family too. Like I have people coming into it like, dude, I didn't even know about Power Rangers or any of the stuff until Black Nerd or even Strawberry 17, you know. And it's like,
Oh, wow.
no, seriously. And like that kind of stuff is like, these are things that we forget, that like we as human beings, we bring something to the table always, no matter what, you know. And it's like it's just nice that we get to show that as Rangers too, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool thing to be a part of. I mean, it's interesting for me because it's like I definitely appreciate this way that I got to be a Power Ranger, but at the same time, I obviously know all the hard work and everything you have to go to be a Power Ranger on like a television series or in a movie. And so I know that Power Rangers is one of those franchises where, you know, we're seeing it a lot more now, but I know for a while it has been like a very specific thing. So I know even when this first started, it was like, wait, what? How does this work? What is a tabletop? What is an RPG? Or how does Power Rangers work as an RPG? Is it canon? Is it this? Is it that? Yeah. And so I think it's just interesting to be a part of it in this way, because I think it just helps with the franchise as a whole to see Power Rangers is one of those things that we can have in so many different formats, and it has all the elements that some of those other very popular franchises has, that get to expand around. It's just nice to be able to see Power Rangers do that, and so the more of that we can get in the future, that I think that will be great, because I like the idea that you can have an RPG, a board game, a card game, a G-rated movie, a PG-13 rated movie, a comic, you know, and hit different audiences, because it's been around 30 years, man. It's going on 30 years. Like this is legit. Yeah. so yeah, that's it.
I put out a call on Twitter for questions a couple of days ago, and I think unsurprisingly, overwhelmingly, people want to know about will there be a season 2, etc. Let's just say, did you have thoughts about a second season? Did you know where you wanted your characters to go?
Mm-hmm.
Had you guys talked about anything? Like, what can you say about what might have happened?
Yeah, I was talking to Melissa about Chloe's arc, because at the end, it's been a long time, she finds her dad, and he's the baddie bad, which is like heartbreaking.
But also main cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Like what's gonna happen?
I will say we really truly thought we were going to get a second season. It was just bad timing. We were told that we can get a second season. If we had not known that, we wouldn't have ended it on a cliffhanger. But it was just bad timing. We got bought by Hasbro right when the renewal happened, and it just changed the things. But I'm still very proud of the season we had, and still very curious to see what you guys would have wanted to do in season 2.
Yeah.
Chloe was gonna go bad. She was gonna be a baddie bad. I think she was gonna kill some people.
Like some of these people?
You would
Or
not
just
have
some
killed
other
anybody.
people?
No, Chloe.
I don't know.
Dark
I think
Don't
Chloe's,
kill everyone.
Chloe's world got shattered. I think she was gonna go to the other side. I think if
Explore the Dark Ranger.
because if sacrifices needed to be made, especially with her power, having the battleizer, I think she was gonna go to that side of herself, because her mom was so good and her dad is this like horrible person. I think she was questioning who she was, and where her home was too. So I kind of wanted to explore how dark we could go with that character, because she was broken at the end. Everything that she was fighting for, like her family disappeared, and then she finds them, and they're the reason why so many people have like passed, and her friends have gotten hurt. There was a lot of guilt.
Pulling all the strings.
Yeah, pulling all the strings. There was a lot of guilt riding on Chloe. So we were in season 2. I really wanted to explore that dark side of her, which would have been really heartbreaking. But I mean, I kind of love when a really good, wholesome character goes to that dark side of themselves, because it's real.
I was hoping for a second season for sure. But also it's kind of nice too, because it's like it's open ended. We might go into an animated series now. You know, it's like who knows? We might go into a.
I mean,
Not
none
that
of
they've
us work
told
for
me
Hasbro
about.
anymore, so
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Jack D. Thomas, brought to you by Spanx. can't breathe. Roll cameras quickly.
We talked earlier about some of the amazing guest stars you got to play with. Hypothetical season 2, who would you have liked to bring on?
Oh, wow.
I would have really tried, if I could have, I would have tried to, we could have swung it, get David Fielding on, because he is an experienced RPGer, and as Zordon, I think it would have been really fun and special.
Oh my gosh, yes! Like exploring that whole like universe of like the origin and all that
That
stuff.
would have been sick.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some of the villains, some of the classic villains come in
That'd be
Yeah.
fun.
and have the voice actors get the chance to do their thing.
Yeah.
Because there's such a pantheon of cheese there. I mean, Goldar's pretty badass, but come on, the Pudgy Pig.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I'm imagining Eddie would have an adventure with all the like side characters. Like it'd be like Eddie with Bulk and Skull, Victor and Monty, Ben and Betty, and it'd just be like this wow, like
Coolest dude, yeah.
just some weird side quests.
I would love to see that. Like a little comic sequence.
Yeah.
Anyone, Megan? I'm going to put you on the spot.
I don't know.
Who'd play your dad?
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Oh no. It's like burrito o'clock right now. I'm not gonna lie.
It's real.
I like my
Burrito o'clock.
stomach's growling, so I'm drawing
Yeah.
a blank. Sorry.
Melissa, you are taking the reins of Boom's Power Rangers comics in October. I'm not asking for spoilers. I'm not asking for anything. Is there a chance a HyperForce, just a nod, could show up at some point?
Absolutely. I freaking love HyperForce. It's in my blood and something I love dearly. So if I
We're
have
time
any
travelers.
say at all, again, the final say is always Hasbro, but if I have any say at all, yes, you will see at least some measure of HyperForce again.
Lovely.
Cool. Yeah. There's your announcement.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have another 10 minutes or so. Do folks have questions? Will we do some questions?
Yes, this
Okay.
man has no blood in his right arm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's been
yeah,
holding
he's
that
been
for a
waiting.
We'll
while.
start there and then we'll go around the room.
JDF. Yeah, the fact that he came into it, he didn't know what he was doing, so he was actually playing himself, but it worked perfectly because that's what Draken is. Draken is a guy from another universe coming in and wrecking face in this universe. So it was really fun to see him just let loose.
You know, the one I actually go back to and watch all the time is it's not a big event. It's literally them going back for Joe's wedding
Oh yeah.
to Madeira because it was just so
Marv was
funny.
so unhinged.
Like I felt as everybody was just having such a blast and it was freaking hilarious. And I just I think that was my favorite moment.
I like the moment Chloe had with Jack. We were like in the offices or like the police station.
Yeah. When you guys were
Yep.
on the-
Or like back and forth. That was like Chloe didn't really get too many moments with Jack, and I felt like that one meant a lot.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well put.
Squealing in front of Doggy Kruger is always going to be a fun moment for me. Because that was literally just what happened so far, just yelling it all out. So that was very fun. But yeah, and then all the interactions with the guests, and I also like when we just went back in time. That one it was like medieval times where we had that whole bit was just like a nice little cool different thing that was just unique to HyperForce.
What was the King Arthur? What's the girl's name?
Oh gosh.
Guinevere.
Guinevere,
Yeah.
I forget the name
had
of the
her own
actress,
That
but
was
she was
fun.
amazing.
That was
Yeah,
fun.
that was cool.
All right, let's go. Actually, you know what? Why don't we just do a line? Does that work for folks? Yeah. All right.
All right.
We'll just get. Let's just start here. Yep.
Oh, sorry, man.
Oh, good.
Burrito o'clock.
Burrito o'clock, bro.
We'll come back to you if you
got
think
it,
of
man.
Yeah.
We have a HyperForce Ranger himself here.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I will say is the arc is pretty packed right now, so I'd probably want to focus more on like the TV Rangers and the comic Rangers, but you never know. I really love them. If I could get a Santa Ranger in there, I'll try.
my
But, like,
gosh, you
Oh
would.
my gosh, Santa's a
You
Power Ranger
would.
would be awesome.
Thank
Hey
you.
man, hey. Thank you for your question. There you go. That's for you, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that there the whole time? What is happening?
Where
I'm
did that
Santa.
come
I'm the Santa Ranger. HyperForce Blue.
Yeah.
All right.
When it comes to Eddie's reaction to Vesper's death, what did you use to channel your emotion for that scene?
Oh, he's such a good actor.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, I mean, Eddie and Vesper. That was that whole arc was just a very fun thing because like obviously he had a crush on her. Then she tried to kill him at one point.
We've all been there.
Then,
How
you know,
relationships go.
yeah, and then all the things happened. Then she went away at one point, but then came back. So yeah, no, I think it's just when you care about someone and something like that happens to them, obviously it's just a sad thing. So yeah, I think it was just that's what's so fun about doing this is like I almost just even forget that I'm there at times and just really play into the part of Eddie, what kind of staying in character. And so it was just sort of a natural reaction of this thing. Not only, it wasn't even so much about the character we had a crush on, but it's like just the fact that this is our teammate, this is our friend, and even that was real nice as well. It's just that Eddie and Vesper kind of, which I think was kind of a good statement of like, look, even though nothing happened as far as romantically, they were still friends, and that you can have that relationship as well, and it's also just as important, just as loving. So I think just to have that happen, yeah, it was really strong. So yeah, thank you, man. Hey man,
Good question.
yeah, very good question. And blue for blue. Here you go, man. That's for you. Yeah, Psycho Blue. No problem.
How much? What does he have under there?
I didn't. I'm so impressed. It's like Mary Poppins.
Speaking of Vesper's death, if I recall correctly, it came down to roles. Like, y'all used like 3 supers or something like that, and it still played out that way. What are like big what ifs that you can recall that came down to roll the dice?
So many, dude.
So many.
Yeah.
So many.
Definitely was one of them.
Battleizer, yeah.
That literally could have gone anyway.
To anyone.
I mean, that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
Chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also why I say like a big thank you to people who supported it because you guys actually helped us to survive a lot of those times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. The
Yeah.
roles. You would help.
We needed those supers.
So bad.
Brad, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey man. Hey.
We got a burrito for you, homie.
Oh, green for green.
Eventually, he's got to run out of matching ones.
I'm really impressed, Andre.
Yes.
So, you think that if HyperForce was greenlit for like a cartoon adaptation, you think that if they got the animation studio who worked on Ride with TMNT to do the animation, you think we'd have something truly special on our hands?
I think any animation doing HyperForce would be great. I thought you were going to ask me, will HyperForce ever cross over Ninja Turtles, which would be amazing. That would be my dream come true. But no, I totally think an animated, I mean, again, I have no power, but I think an animated version of HyperForce, if you wanted to see a continuation or even just a one-shot comic or just anything like that, just to have, because I think if anything, it would just be nice to have, even if you just had that one more story to just kind of wrap things up since we did end on a cliffhanger. But whatever form is it, but yeah, man, a HyperForce cartoon. Shoot, we could. I mean, you can do an '80s cartoon style with a theme song and everything.
Absolutely. Totally.
A talking dog and all that. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
Do I? Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, but I mean,
But
like,
it'd need to get 80s-ified.
yeah.
It has to like have all your names in it and describe you so that kids know who you all
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
That's it, man. Thank you, man. Oh, it's great. See, if you haven't seen the movie on Netflix, the Rise of TMNT movie on Netflix is amazing. Sorry, am I allowed to talk about Ninja Turtles here? I don't know. Is that allowed?
I don't work for Hasbro anymore. You can say whatever you want.
Right.
They crossed over. The Ninja Turtles Power Ranger crossover is awesome. Man. Yeah. Thank you.
Don't use metal dice.
Or weigh the dice in your favor. No, I'm kidding.
Or go in early and get the good dice.
All very valuable life lessons, actually.
Yeah.
I think it's for me. It was just that like your actions matter more than they think. You know, more than you might think. Yeah, because like people are watching. Yeah, and everything matters. And the role playing aspect of it really showed because like you do one thing wrong, you see how it plays out wrong. You know, it's like you don't say that one person, something else happens. You know, so yeah.
Mine was just being it helped contribute to my coming out. So
I think for me it helped with
thanks.
yeah. I think for me it helped with understanding that, particularly for Power Rangers, but just in general, that fandom is a different thing for different people. I think that sometimes, you know, like even with as much I know, there's people that obviously know way more about Power Rangers than I do. And I think that when you see something that's been all around this long and has so many iterations, it can feel overwhelming to be like, well, am I a fan if I've only seen this season, or am I a fan if I came in this? If you're a fan, you're a fan, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that that's what's very important. There's no standardized test on the fandom of Power Rangers or anything else. If the way you enjoy it, whether you're cosplaying, you watch all the seasons, one of the seasons, you bought a T-shirt, a Hot Topic, whatever happens, man, you do your thing. So yeah. So
Thanks heaps. Guys, I'm so sorry. We are going to have to call time there. Everyone is going to be around the convention for the rest of the day. So if you have questions, come up and find them. I'm sure. I'm really sorry. We are just
Hey,
out
thanks
of
for
time.
watching for all
Thank
these
you
years. We
guys
love
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
And ladies and gentlemen, if we could just get one last round of applause for the cast of Power Rangers HyperForce.
Woo!